Right. What's up, collective? So for the last couple days, I've just been taking a couple days to, just really sit with spirit and to get the downloads that have been coming through. And they actually directed me the to the anime Bleach. So let me just write down. Let me just tell you what I wrote down here. So for those who don't know, Bleach is basically about a high school kid who ends up becoming a Soul Reaper or like a Shinigami on a substitute basis after his family gets attacked by evil spirits. So, just to give a little bit of context here. So, in the eyes of the Soul Society, all souls are equal. You must commit yourself to saving every spirit, even if it means sacrificing your own life. And then one of the characters' brother actually ended up being abducted and turning into a hollow, one of these evil spirits. And the girl, he was visiting the girl, and he basically pulled her out of the way of like a speeding car. So like strange marks were appearing on her body from the spiritual contact. And then breaking the mask of a hollow basically breaks that spiritual mind control that binds them once you learn the hollow's true identity here. And then there was a conversation between these characters once this like identity was revealed, talking about he's just a monster now, he needs to be destroyed, but he was once a human. The part of him that's still human is battling the hollow for control. And then exercising a hollow isn't the same thing as killing it. And then there was also this one character, Don Kanoji, premier spiritualist of the century, who was like this big showman that brought in all these great ratings for this, for the network, the TV network. And he has the gift of sight. Like he's actually legitimately a seer, but he didn't really have the spiritual know-how of how to do battle in the spirit here. So he ended up getting wrapped up in the conflict with a hollow with Ichigo after accidentally creating a hollow with his methods. And basically in the battle, he was like, even if this body is obliterated, as long as I can serve as a shield for the children of tomorrow, I'll carry it with no regrets for the life that I've lived. And then because he's created hollows while showboating that he's purifying these souls, once he found out what was actually going on through this battle that he went into with Ichigo, he was like, that's what I've been doing for all this time? Man, I'm so ashamed. And then there's also this aspect of like the Quincy's versus the Soul Reapers. So the Quincy's being a clan that were human, that had spiritual sight, that believed that hollows just needed to be exterminated. There was no need to like exorcise the soul or introduce them into the afterlife or anything like that. Like just kill the motherfucker. And then there were the Soul Reapers who believed that, hollows were still once human, so their souls can be exorcised and led on to basically the afterlife once the resentment and the issues that had led to them becoming hollow had been taken care of. So yeah, let's get into this energy today because this is very interesting. Also, what's up, Outlaws? Welcome to Ghostwriter Intuition. I'm your girl Bree. I'll be your judge, jury, and executioner over here, as well as president of the Motorcycle Club. Go on and hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so that we can get the visibility of the channel up and get the messages out to the people who need to hear them. And yeah, so let's get into this energy. I'm trying to get a reading out for y'all today before I go do my hair. I'm about to throw my hair in some mini twists and get my hands out of it. So we have Storm Angel with collision of belief, styles, attitudes, and energies here. We have intoxication, distorted view, and overindulgence. One more. Thank you. Oops. Throwing cards around. And then we also have Faceless Ghosts and the Hunted Girl with Ghost People. And then a card that fell out of the deck that I'm not going to take is Witch at the End of the World with an important end and a new beginning here. So I'm definitely picking up on two factions here with differing, kind of like that Quincy's versus Soul Reapers energy. Like, one party has a distorted view of life as it is, and because of this distorted view of, I'm seeing of the spirit world in general, it's like a distorted view of how people need to approach working with spirits that has led to this clashing of beliefs here. Okay, what else do we need to know about this energy spirit? Let's get some past life energy here. These cards are all flip-floppity because they fell out and went all crazy the other day. Okay. Let's see. I'm seeing that it's sort of like a collision on the beliefs of like what spirits are considered divine and which spirits are treated as lower spirits or as unclean spirits. And you know, that's something I run into a lot of times with my own path. As you can tell from my from a lot of my videos, I do work with demons, not necessarily from an Abrahamic perspective, and I don't work with them from the Abrahamic perspective, like the Solomonic perspective, because if you think about it, it's like, people are like, oh, demons are dangerous, blah, blah, blah. And thinking about it, if we think about the Solomonic approach to working with demons, you're working with them, this entity, as if, one, they don't have a higher consciousness than you, two, that they are not under some sort of order of their own, and three, well, yeah, if you summon me and try to fucking enslave me, do you think I'm gonna like be benevolent towards you? Like, think about it from, you know, just a basic perspective here with karmic relationship at the bottom of the deck. It's like, I don't personally believe in like the Solomonic seals or the circles or any of that. Like, if I'm gonna work with an entity, I'm gonna work with the entity as it is. And yeah, the energies might be heavy, they might feel dark, but that's because it's from a primordial place that you are trying to ultimately transcend and get out of. That's always been my view, especially with like working like clip off and Kabbalah, for example. Like, if you work just clip off on its own, I can definitely see where that can get really dark and detrimental. But if you're balancing it out with the proper light, like, that's when you work that middle path and ascend even faster here. Instead of entertaining like this karmic relationship with these demons where you're basically trying to be their slave master to build your temple, like Solomon. So we have trust and faith, galactic here. This is getting into, with High Priest and Priestess, this is getting into trusting that everything has its place within the grand scheme of the universe, within the scheme of the galaxy. So if we think about it from like, we can break this concept down to the Milky Way. So like, there's some planets, there's some stars that are considered fortunate, like Venus or Jupiter, and then there's some that are more on the fence, like Mercury, Mars. Well, Mars can also be considered a malefic, so it's like the law of polarity here. And it's like, the role of a high priest or a priestess in this context is to bridge the gap between these colliding polarities, these colliding beliefs, and to ultimately like bridge the gap, basically, to ultimately blend them into a way that can benefit both themselves and the people that they serve. It's like you can't have you can't have peace without a war type of deal here. So it's like learning this element of forgiveness here, going back to the Quincy's versus the Soul Reapers. So it's like forgiving yourself for what you did in ignorance, and forgiving yourself for this skewed view that you have regarding your own darkness and the darkness of others here. This is something that may have been picked up from the Father here, as far as this prejudice goes towards this outside spiritual system. Because it's like, so think about a tool. It's kind of like how people demonize tarot readers, saying that we're all bad. But at the end of the day, these are just some cards, bro. It's all dependent on the user. So you know, when we see a knife in a mother's hand as she's cutting a birthday cake, do we look at her as if she's like, you know, scream as if she's Ghostface with a knife? No. Do we look at people who are wielding a torch to light our way as if they are an arsonist? No. So it's all about the potentiality and the willpower of the user here. There's also an element here of like a priest or a priestess projecting their religious prejudices onto the spiritual path of another person in the attempt to gain control here over their path. But what happens here is this deck in reverse? What happens here is that instead of causing somebody to abandon their beliefs and adopt your own, what it can do is that, like when Don Kanoji was trying to purify the spirit, he actually ended up causing pain to this spirit, building resentment in this spirit, and creating a monster because of his need to control this spirit here. With illumination, skull of light falling out on top of distorted view. Yeah, so this person is lacking this higher perspective in regards to the spirit world here. Because they are afraid to risk going against the teachings of a father, or possibly because they are a father who is afraid of what example they will put forth for their children. They are refusing to bite into this fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, even though it would benefit them here. Let's get some tarot on this. we need to know about this energy, Spirit? What else do we need to know about this energy? We have justice coming out here. So this is cutting through any sort of illusions of control and having trust and faith that even though your beliefs may be clashing with somebody else, that ultimately you both are working in the highest service of the divine here. Both people wear a crown, both people have an open third eye, both people have an activated heart, hopefully. And both are grounded in their beliefs, bringing this higher perspective into a grounded state here, balancing out the darkness and the light within themselves here. But ultimately, with this Eight of Swords falling out on top of illumination and distorted view, this is again just like getting into mental conflict because of the semantics, because of a lack of understanding and education here, because of emotional reactions to the verbiage that one person uses. Which has led to the rejection of these ideals that ultimately would benefit somebody here, because you subconsciously view them as karmic because of karmic approaches that have been taught. So yeah, again, with the Chariot in reverse, this is leading to not moving forward, not balancing this darkness and light, not coming into full and total integration of the self here, so that you can move forward onto a more celestial path here. And causing conflict with this individual in your actions, and just sowing seeds of discord in the community for no reason, just because of, again, semantics. So because of this bound perspective, this individual may have decided to operate more independently because of the group dynamic that persecutes them here. And they've missed out on a chance to achieve true community here, true teamwork, true collaboration. Because the individuals that they were trying to collaborate with didn't see their cup as divine that was being offered because of the emotions of the past sitting here again. It could have also been somebody like this father figure here, like, because the Three of Cups always brings me back to the Three of Cups card. So there could have been a third party here poisoning this individual, like poisoning the ears and the opinions of this individual here. More on this Chariot card here. We have the Ace of Pentacles. So this is, again, something tangible from the divine that is a portal into deeper knowledge, deeper understanding here, deeper fertility as well. And giving somebody more resources, a more balanced perspective as they enter into, as they would have entered into this new chapter here. Something that's ultimately faded as well with these red threads here. Okay, so what of this persecuted individual then? What has become of this persecuted individual? This persecuted individual has become the type that is stable in their beliefs but has started to keep their cards close to their chest here because of this anxiety that has been thrust upon them through this like hesitancy to see them for the perspective that they hold. My eyes are drawn. This is the first time I've noticed that the quilt, I don't know how well you can see, the quilt actually has not just roses but also zodiac symbols in here. My eyes were drawn immediately to Aries and the moon here. So somebody may have a moon in Aries. That could be significant. I'm also seeing Pisces and Virgo. Those are the ones that have called out to me the most on this quilt. Also Gemini and Leo. We have the Knight of Wands coming out here. So yeah, that kind of reinforces like Aries energy to me. With this Knight of Wands, I'm seeing anxiety that these people are in their prejudices towards them, going to take this impulsive action because they're so armored up against their beliefs against them. Like if you look in the bed here, there's like some dude rushing at somebody who's like already on their back leg here. Through their judgment here. But it's a false judgment here with the subconscious here because, like, again, it's like there's multiple options, multiple views, multiple approaches. So it's like judgment because they think that this person has gone into this path for the riches, for stability, for the power, to hurt other people, to like, but in reality, I'm seeing that this person has done neither. This person has gone into this path with the Tower here. I'm not seeing this card as a negative here. This is someone who has gone into this path to strike their ego, to ultimately jump out of this burning tower that is in the background here. With the Ace of Swords at the bottom of the deck. This person has gone into this path seeking clarity about themselves, about the world around them, and about the spirits that walk this path with them. We have the High Priestess in reverse and the Seven of Wands. So my eyes were immediately drawn to the cross on the High Priestess's garment, as well as the pomegranate. So I'm not necessarily seeing this card as a negative High Priestess, even though it is in the reverse, but rather that this is a High Priestess of the darkness here. A High Priestess of the underworld. Who doesn't view themselves on any sort of high ground or higher standard here than the people that are like trying to thrust these wands and these burdens onto them here. We have the Magician at the subconscious level. This is a person who is trying to draw down these higher teachings from and to blend them with the teachings of the underworld as well here. This is somebody who has struck the balance between their passions and their purity, who has utilized all the different tools available to them, the pentacles, the cups, the swords, the wands. They do have mastery of this energy, and it's opened up infinite possibilities within their crown. With the egoic level, they are people perceive them as blind, perhaps, or people perceive them as blind, but I'm seeing an open third eye. I'm seeing open ears so they can hear really well. And then there is also a balance here, like an emotional balance as well with the still waters here. It's like still waters run deep. This person is an empress in their own right, a king of pentacles in their own right. Somebody who has harnessed feminine energy here and created a place for themselves among the stars, an abundance of their own spiritual fruits here by eating of this tree of the knowledge of good and evil. There is also, with the amount of bulls in this King of Pentacles card, it's also giving me the energy of Belial as well. One of those demons that everyone thinks is synonymous with the devil. But anyone who knows, there are multiple Satans. Let's get one message from the crows. bottles, please. So we have battle and perspective. So yeah, this conflict and this battle that this person has been going through is just because people lack the perspective to see them for who they truly are here. If you look at it, it's like this bird is not attacking anyone. This bird is on the defense while this one is coming at them, and there's a bunch of onlookers here. I'm also picking up on kind of like the bystander effect here, because people view this as a risk. That's going back to the risk and reward card as well. So it's like, they think they would be risking their own stability by embracing this individual, so they kind of leave them to their own devices here, refusing to hear them. But the risk is that the risk within their path comes from distractions. So this is tying back into that Seven of Cups that we saw before. A lot of people, so like for example, when it comes to like the infernal path, for example, a lot of people get hung up in making deals for riches, making deals for fame, making deals for to be young forever, to have all the power. But I don't see that this person is truly, this person has a heart that is not swayed by these things, and because of this they're able to soar through these teachings. Yeah, because again, they're not acting out of self-interest here. We'll get a shamanic healing card, and then I think we'll close this out here. These cards are upside down. Closing remarks. Closing remarks. Closing remarks. We have movement into balance and feminine energy here. So yeah, again, this is like balancing out the light and the dark through this integration of feminine energy, because whether people want to admit it or not, feminine energy is the dark polarity when we're talking about, you know, masculine versus feminine energy here. This is somebody who has already completed their cycles, learned the things that they have needed to learn from their path here. They have this balanced perspective, again, with like yin and yang, the light and the dark energy here. And then the card peeking out here is actually duality. So they've achieved this duality that people are afraid of because they're afraid of stepping into the darkness here. And they've retreated because of the projections that these people are throwing at them because of their negative perception of darkness. This is again, I'm holding this knife to cut a birthday cake, but you're looking at me like I'm about to cleave your head off with it type deal. And because of this, they feel burdened by the other people around them. It's like, I've passed the class already, but because you're struggling, it's like getting paired up with the kid who's struggling in the class, and like this kid expects you to do all of the work for you, or for them, I should say, even though you're like, I've already basically tested out of the class. And it's like, because of that, like, you think you can burden me with all of your stuff, and I'm just meant to transmute it and like hold your hand and babysit you through it. But that's not the case. We'll get one from the dark mirror, and then we'll close out for real, for real. Okay, so for this community, what does the dark mirror have to reveal to this community that is persecuting this individual? What does the dark mirror have to reveal to the community that's persecuting this individual? We had naked before the stars pop out, but I'm not going to take it. No reversals, thank you. We have atonement. So this community needs to reflect on the ways that they've burdened this individual by stabbing these swords into their back. So this could be through things that they've said behind this person's back, things that they've projected onto this individual, and atone for what they haven't transmuted for themselves here. There's something here about water slipping through your hands as well. So this is letting something emotional slip through your hands here. This is letting the pain slip through your hands here. We also have Is This Me at the bottom of the deck. So it's like atonement for, again, the projections that people have put onto this individual that actually operates within duality here. It's like people have made this individual out to be darker than they truly are here. Yeah. So just some food for thought for that community. And yeah, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and go, wash my hair and get ready to twist it up. Thank y'all so much for being here. Definitely hit the like and subscribe again. Check out the description box and book in any personal readings or energy healing sessions that you need. And with that, let's ride out, Outlaws.